with me, Rowan Huang. Before I begin, let me first introduce myself. My name is Rowan Huang. I'm an author, spirit coach, and also a psychic. Today I want to talk about an interesting topic, or maybe not, I don't know. The mechanism of prophecy, how prophecy work. Or I don't want to make a separate episode, so it's going to be how prophecy work or how prophecy dream work. So many of you come to me throughout the years talk about how you have those kind of prophecy dream, like you're able to dream of something before it's actually happening. Most of the time you guys mention the dream is not like good, like it was usually something to do with bad dream, and then some reason you will have talent to dream about it, and then the thing will actually happen. So you would like to know how that work, and many of you would try to debate with me if I'm always talk about our future is changeable, it's always variable. Then be able to predict your future and to go into that fixed future, that simply doesn't make sense. So I do want to try to explain how it works, then you will kind of understand it does make sense. You just have to think in the perspective like everything else on the universe. You cannot try to analyze things with only one angle of it, or only with one point of view to justify things, because then nothing makes sense. Just like everything on the universe, there's no good or bad, right or wrong. So if you try to use that kind of perception to explain whatever that is, then you will only confuse yourself more, and then nothing simply makes sense. So now let's come back to the prophecy. How come there are people who have the skill to predict the future, and it seems like everything they say are also correct? If our future is changeable, if our future is variable, got all kind of options, then no one should be able to predict the future of what is going to happen, isn't it? Yes, but no at the same time. Okay, everything under the universe, everything in the nature, I would not say universe because I really haven't been to other planets. So let's talk about Earth. Every soul have a tendency of, we call self-protection. That's called instinct. Your instinct will teach you to be away from harm, or tell you to get away from what is called danger. So usually any living soul will have that kind of tendency. That's how the animal will predict or sense something is coming, or some kind of disaster is happening. Therefore, they have a tendency and try to run away from the disaster. Human too are also built with this kind of mechanism. That is, we have ability to sense what is not right for us, or what danger is coming, or what kind of thing that we will feel bad or feel not right. We have that sense. You do. You don't believe you do, but you do. But the reason that you don't think you do is because our mind is taking over by logic quite a lot. So we're living our daily life without using our instinct and simply using our logic to say it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So we tend to wave off a lot of things that our body or our soul constantly sending signal to us, say it's dangerous, something bad is going to happen, this is just not right, this is just not right. So some of you, what you would do is, remember we talked about the dream, that when you are sleeping, you tend to go back to your source, or you tend to be more connected with your soul. And then we are talking about average people, or maybe few of you who are very connected to your soul. When you are sleeping, you're simply not aware of it. You will tend to collect all those information like you probably experienced throughout the day, but you've been convincing yourself like that doesn't make sense, it doesn't exist, until you were sleeping. And all of a sudden when you are sleeping, you become having a clear mind and receive all those information and foresee the future. All of a sudden, like You probably have a little information here and there, but since you've been neglecting and pushing it aside, not to pay any attention to it, therefore when you're sleeping, it seems to come up all at once, and you feel like a dream. So this could be one angle of why people would have ability to foresee their future, or most of the time they will see that is bad. But does it stop right there? No. Yes, you foresee the future. Sometimes people will have things to prevent it, or try to look out for it, or try to do something about it. As for the animal, I think they would just try to run away, escape from where the disaster is going to be. Human, in the other hand, tend to worry. So instead of do something about it or figure out how I can do, okay, now I'm very aware, I'm quite in tune, and I understand that is something that my soul try to tell me to do. You don't sit down and think, okay, what can I do to try to prevent this? Sometimes if it's natural disaster or something, you may or may not prevent it, but you can try. You can try to minimize the damage or something like that, right? But most of humans tend to worry. You worry and you're afraid and you live in fear. If you understand this is the pattern, then you realize, then you trigger another thing. That is called human thought. In the early episode of my broadcast, I mentioned how powerful human thought is. Something that you contribute, deposit thought every day, you most likely is going to manifest it into your reality. So when people receive a signal, a prophecy, whether it's within their control or beyond their control, people tend to worry about it. Because you worry about it, it depends on the time, the span, or how many people deposit the same thought into the same worry that will also trigger the so-called prophecy to happen. So this would be, to tell you this is so you then understand how would prophecy happening in the future. It can be, first, it triggers your natural instinct of self-protection because you're simply in tune like everybody else or every living soul on the planet. You are aware or you sensing danger is coming. Second, then you trigger your human power of thought of deposit fear and deposit worry to make such a thing happen. So if you understand, okay, if prophecy, in order to make prophecy happen, I have to trigger a couple things in order to make it happen, right? Then you will understand it based on the scale too. When people worry, the impact may not be as big as 100 people worry about it, right? So then you will understand, when people talk about prophecy, in order to make that happen, or people may be aware or may not be aware, whatever that is, to worry. But then throughout the history, we do learn one thing. We tend to have people deposit the thought if we can trigger their fear. If I can trigger your fear and make you all worry about something, then you most likely will continuously deposit the same thought into that prophecy that may or may not be happening. If you understand, let's divide the world into two. One people worry and the other people not worry about it. If among the people who do not worry about it, the power is way greater than those people who worry about it, then the prophecy itself may not be happening. But since the old time, people, society, or everything tend to use fear to control people. That is, if I'm going to tell you the end of the world is coming, and then majority of people based on this event is so big and it's so great and it's beyond my human ability can control, and I don't know what to do, and I'm going to be doomed or whatever that is, everybody else contribute that thought and worry about it. At this point of time, it's not like the end of the world is really going to happen. It could be because the end of the world, understand, every psychic will only use their perspective of the end of the world to justify the feeling that they receive, that including me. Okay? So, if to me, let's say I really care about money. That's all I live my life for. And then money is the only thing in my life. And then all of a sudden I make got a vision or a sense of everybody will have no money anymore. There's no more currency. There's no more money. I worked my life so hard for, and all of a sudden there's no currency, there's no money, and that means it's like the end of the day for me. That my life is to the doom. You know what I mean? So that to that particular psychic will then become the end of the world, right? Some psychic might be very nature oriented or natural extremist. So she loved green, she loved all the grasses, she loved all the nature around her, but then somehow she received a vision like no more green. There's no more green in the world anymore. They're all artificial or something. To her, that will be the end of the world. You know where I'm getting with it, right? So most of the prophecy that you see or hear, it comes from a big event. They might receive a message of something big is going to happen, something big is going to shift the world, but I do not know what it is, because understand how we justify any message that we receive is based on the knowledge we have. Sometimes the message we receive is beyond our knowledge. Like we may not know how to translate it or justify it. We just know it's some kind of big impact. I never experienced this kind of impact in my life. It must be the end of the world. What could it be? Which could be true, but could be not true. So when the word is out, people tend to worry. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So therefore, they start deposit the thought to make that happen. Everybody would deposit their perspective of the end of the world and continuously deposit into the idea the end of the world is coming, and that just not so. What you would do is you will constantly collecting the evidence to prove that you are right. Humans like to be right. So, see, this is the evidence. We are walking to the doom. We are dealing with the end of the world. People continuously collecting the evidence to prove how right they are, and by more evidence they collect, more believer they can convince to believe the end of the world is coming. So basically, whatever, if you understand this is how the mechanism work, and then you understand our future is changeable, it's variable. That is, even if there is a hole on top of the North Pole, you can, you can destroy it, yes, but understand everything on the universe coming pair. You have a power to destroy it. That also means you have the power to repair it. Does that make sense? Because, everything on the universe coming pair. So if you understand that, you will realize, okay, now everything makes sense. If I have a dream of my future, which so-called bad future, do I want to continuously deposit worry and fear into it to push it to happen? And it will happen, probably. Or do I figure out a way to think, how can I find a way to better protect myself, even if this is happening, or even if this is unpreventable and it's going to happen? How can I minimize the damage? And etc. Then you will start to realize sometimes what you so-called prophecy is not that bad after all. Not like many of you come to me worry about, I always have the prophecy dream and it's always something bad happen. It doesn't have to be so. It could be something good happen too. It just, we have a tendency to sense when there is danger near us. If you learn to be more in tune with yourself, and that's why I continue saying it's more important for you to find a balance of your life, not to have one or the other overpower the other. then you will more likely to use all skill you have and understand such a thing happen around you, instead of always wait until you go to bed and then you feel like so helpless, nothing I can do. Even if you do receive the information, understand, if everything under universe coming pair, if my future is variable, my future is changeable, instead of putting bad thought or worry or fear to deposit into that future to make it happen, how can I reverse it? So those are the way, like, hope you guys understand really how the prophecy work. Most of the prophecy you will understand if you do have time. Go back. I like to study all kind of things. So if you are like me and you're curious how it works, instead of come and debate with me, I'm just simply trying to share my observation with you. You may or may not agree. That's fine by me. But if you are as curious as me, I will invite you to go back and look for all the prophecy that have been happening in the future, that may happen or something, and then look at how we have a habit of using fear to control things. You know what I mean? Using fear to control things in order to make that happen. Understand, if you see that patterning happening, and it is happening, you will understand if this is doable. It's like a simple math, right? If this is possible, that means we will also be able to use the good thought and make the good thing happen. Everything come in pair. So anyway, hope that doesn't confuse you guys more. I just hope that kind of clarify things a little bit better, and then you guys will understand. And if you do understand, at least you can go back to your life. If you happen to be one of those prophets, you can, at least better use your prophecy and make good thing happen in your life. So again, if you like what I'm doing, you can always join me live on Facebook or go to subscribe my YouTube channel. Don't forget to watch the ads, click the ad to contribute to my coffee, or my website, ruowen.com. Till then, next time, bye.